Okay, today class we're going to learn about how to write a hypothesis. So first, we have to explore what an experiment is. And a scientific experiment is a question you ask yourself that relates to science. So that leads into what a hypothesis is. So first, we'll talk about what a hypothesis means. So, a hypothesis is an educated guess about the question you want to answer. Two components to a hypothesis. So first, a hypothesis has to be tested and has to be proven. Proven, it has to be proven or tested. Okay. Two relate to the structure. So it has to be in an if-then statement. So, in the if-then statement, it includes an independent variable and a dependent variable. Now, the independent variable is the variable that you change, and the dependent variable is the variable that you're able to measure. So, the independent variable is the variable that you, as an experiment designer, are changing. And the dependent variable is the change or the variable that is measured. So it's the variable that you change, and the dependent variable is the variable that is measured based off of that change. So the dependent variable is dependent on the independent variable. So, for example, let's say I want to test if plant fertilizer affects how large a plant grows. So first, I write if I put fertilizer on a plant, which is my independent variable, because I am changing whether I put fertilizer on the plant or not. Then you insert the dependent variable or the change that will occur. So if I put fertilizer on a plant, then the plant will grow larger, which is the dependent variable, something you can measure. So the dependent variable is if the plant grows larger, you can measure the height of the plant and compare it to a plant that doesn't have the fertilizer. So that would be your hypothesis, which includes the independent variable and the dependent variable. Now we can also go on and add a because or why this occurs. But that goes on into deeper levels, which we won't get into today. Okay, so now I have a chant for you guys. You see a problem, then you form a hypothesis. In the hypothesis, it includes two variables, the independent and the dependent.
We can't remember this.
Sing it with me, guys.
In the variable.
If there is a problem, then we form a hypothesis that includes two variables, the independent and the dependent.
I'm not really sure on this. Can you give me an example of a hypothesis, please?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so like I stated before, you always want to start off with an if-then statement. So if, for example, I want to test how plant fertilizer affects the growth of plants. So if I put fertilizer on a plant, and you always want to be specific with numbers when you talk about your hypothesis. So if I put fertilizer on a plant, so you want to be specific. So if I put 20 grams of fertilizer on a plant, then comes the dependent variable, or what you predict will happen, so something that you can measure. Then the plant will grow, and like I said, you want to be specific with numbers, so you want to say how much it will grow. So the plant will grow 30 feet. So that's how you set up a hypothesis.
Thank you.
Do you get it? Does everybody understand?
Now I do.
Is there any more questions?
Can you give one more example?
Is there a specific part of the hypothesis you don't understand? Then I can just rephrase that part.
The correlation between the independent and the dependent variable.
Okay, so the correlation between the two, like I said before, is that the dependent variable will always be dependent on the independent variable. So for example, the independent variable is the variable you change, and the dependent variable is the variable that you're able to measure. Do you understand?
Okay.